Hi everyone, I'm Catherine, the artist behind Bigelow Fine Arts. My adventure into the Enchanted Forest continues, and I am inviting you to come along and join me. I have my map and artifacts with me, and I am coloring my way through the forest. My supplies have been made ready for this long adventure to seek the mystery in the forest at the center of the Enchanted Forest. If you are up for the adventure, grab your gear and let's begin this journey. I'm progressing along. The leaves along the tree and the grass along the ground will be the next things that I tackle on this path to the castle. Using the chromium green opaque, I am putting down a layer over all the leaves using a light hand, but adding more than one layer since I am using a circular motion. I want these leaves to be dark since they are below the canopy and might actually have stayed alive all winter like rhododendron do. They do tend to be a darker leaf, so that is what I am emulating with many of the leaves on the forest floor, and in this case part of the understory as well. Once I have all the leaves blocked in with the lighter of my two greens, I now want to go in with the chrome green oxide and begin adding in the shadows where they would naturally form, like between overlapping leaves, at the base of leaves, down the center rib, and even on leaf halves with more line art. I try to look at the way the leaves fall to determine where I want to put my shadows. I layer up with more chromium green to fill in the paper more, then add more chrome oxide to deepen the shadows more. I want to make sure the colors stay balanced as I add more layers, as adding layers does tend to darken things up a little more. To really make the shadows stand out even more, I use the dark sepia where I feel the shadows would be their darkest, but it doesn't hurt to give all the shadows a little touching up with some sepia. I'm moving on to the vine climbing up the magnolia tree. If you watched the bonus video yesterday showing how I worked up the color scheme for this page, you'll know that I was reminded of the monstera plant when I saw these leaves. I wanted to use a darker green, but something different from the olive-based green I used on the other leaves. So I chose the hooker's green for these cutout leaves, and I'm planning on working up the whole plant in this green, the leaves as well as the vines. I come in with a light hand, but I put down multiple layers as I know I want this to be the main color. I will bring in a darker green to add in some shadows, but for now I am laying in a solid foundation for these shadows to sit on. I'm leaving the little cutouts uncolored as I want to fill them in with sky to show them as being open. After I give the vine a nice base layer of the hooker's green, I go back to working on the olive leaves located at the base of the magnolia tree. I start with a base layer of the chromium green over the bunch of leaves. I make 2 passes to cover the leaves and fill in some of the paper before coming in with the chrome oxide to start adding in some shadows. I add in more layers of each color to make sure the paper is filled in and that I haven't washed out my shadows by adding in just another layer of the chromium. I add a touch of sepia as well to get the shadows nice and dark. It only needs a little down at the base of the leaves and on any leaves toward the back. The grass is filled in with the aptly named grass green. For this, a sharp pencil makes it so much easier, which, of course, I didn't do and had green going everywhere. The grass is also a little hard to fill in because some of the gaps might actually be gaps, while other times it might be part of the blade in the back. I did the best I could. It is such a small area, accidentally coloring in a gap green or a blade sky blue will hardly be noticed. I'm leaving the grass for now as I noticed a stray magnolia petal that I had missed from earlier, so I am going to hit that up beginning with a layer of light flesh over the entire petal. I add in some dark flesh at the bottom of the petal where it would be darker in color. Then I use the magenta to add in the shadow. I brighten the base of the petal with the fuchsia, then blend the whole thing with the light flesh again. I touch up the shadow, again with a little more magenta, to make sure it is dark enough, and this petal is finished. Now I can go back to the vine climbing up the magnolia tree. I touch up a couple of the leaves with more of the hooker's green to fill in a few little spots I missed. In order to bring in a little character to the leaf and show it as being something more dynamic, I am bringing in the deep cobalt green to add in a darker layer to the base of the leaf, as well as on all the curled parts of the leaves. I use the sepia on the curl as well, as I want to show that it is darker and more in shadow than the top of the leaf. I will be going back and forth between the hooker's green, the deep cobalt green, and the dark sepia to work up each of the leaves to get them where I want them to be. I don't need them to be identical, but after working up a couple to get a feel for them, I can now go through and work them all up to get a similar effect. I use the deep cobalt green at the base of the leaf and on the curl. The sepia is also used on the curl, while the hooker's green is used to blend everything together and fill in the rest of the leaf and paper. I use the sepia and hooker's green to also fill in the stem of the vine. I want something darker, but still in the same color family as the leaves. I'll go through and touch up all the leaves, and that will be it for today. Thanks for joining in with me on this adventure through the Enchanted Forest. Let me know below or on social media if you liked this journey and how yours is going. I'd love to know what you think. I'm on MeWe and would love to build a coloring community there with everyone to share art, talk art, and discuss supplies. Patreon has a short write-up as well as all of the palettes I am using and a list of the timestamps. It's available for everyone. If you have any questions or page requests, please leave them below or reach out to me on social media. I put in a list of chapter breaks in the show notes as well as a list of equipment I like to use. If you use any of my affiliate links, it really helps me out without costing you a thing. I want to thank you all so much for coming along and joining in with me on this coloring journey. I appreciate all my subscribers and look forward to more of you joining in and coloring along with me. Please like, share, and subscribe to help that happen. Until next time, happy coloring.